fangs dripping with blood, a creature of the night stalking its prey. Today, we know vampires from movies, books, and Halloween costumes. But behind the myth lies a far darker truth. Long before Hollywood, real fears, real deaths, and even a real man gave birth to the legend of the vampire. This is the dark origin of vampires and the bloody truth behind Dracula. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Untold Vault, where we uncover the hidden and chilling stories history tried to bury. Ancient fears of the bloodsucker. The idea of blood-drinking monsters is older than Dracula, much older. In ancient Mesopotamia, thousands of years ago, myths spoke of Lamashtu and Lilitu, female demons who drank the blood of newborns and pregnant women. Ancient Greeks feared the Striges, bird-like creatures who fed on human blood. Even in Eastern Europe, people believed in restless corpses called upirs, or rikolakas, the dead rising from their graves to drink the blood of the living. For centuries, whenever villages were struck by plagues or mysterious deaths, people blamed these creatures. They would dig up corpses, stake them through the heart, and burn them, all to stop the so-called vampire from returning. The vampire myth was born not from fiction, but from fear, disease, and death. The real-life vampire panics. In the 17th and 18th centuries, vampire hysteria spread like wildfire across Eastern Europe. In Serbia, villagers reported corpses that looked fresh, even after weeks in the grave. Some even claimed blood dripped from their mouths. The terrified locals dug up bodies, drove stakes through their hearts, and sometimes even decapitated them. But what was really happening? Today, science offers an answer. Diseases like rabies and tuberculosis caused strange symptoms. Pale skin, sensitivity to light, foaming at the mouth, and even biting behavior. To people at the time, it looked like proof vampires were real. Vlad the Impaler, the bloody inspiration. But no story of vampires is complete without Dracula. The infamous name comes from Vlad III of Wallachia, a 15th century ruler known as Vlad the Impaler. He earned his nickname by executing thousands of enemies in one of the most gruesome ways imaginable. Impalement. Victims were left on stakes, their bodies rotting in fields, as a warning to others. Vlad was brutal, but he was also feared and respected. To his enemies, he was a monster. To his people, he was a protector. Centuries later, his legend mixed with vampire folklore, creating the image of a bloodthirsty ruler who inspired Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula. Dracula wasn't just fiction. He was rooted in real blood and real terror. Bram Stoker's creation. When Irish author Bram Stoker wrote Dracula, he blended history with horror. He borrowed the name Dracula from Vlad, added Eastern European legends of vampires, and wrapped it in Gothic fiction. The result? A terrifying aristocrat who lived in a castle, slept in a coffin, and fed on the blood of the living. Stoker's Dracula turned old superstitions into a modern monster, one that still haunts our imaginations more than a century later. The vampire in pop culture. From there, the vampire only grew stronger. In the 20th century, movies like Nosferatu, 1922, and Dracula, 1931, introduced the world to the vampire on screen. He wasn't just a monster. He was seductive, mysterious, and terrifying. Since then, vampires have taken countless forms, from the horrific in Salem's Lot to the romantic in Twilight. But at the core, the vampire still represents the same fears humans have always had: death, disease, blood, and the unknown. The dark legacy. The vampire myth isn't just about horror, it's a window into human history. It shows how people explained disease before science, how rulers like Vlad became legends of fear, and how one author's imagination turned folklore into one of the most powerful monsters of all time. Behind every Hollywood vampire lies a story of real blood, real death, and real fear. So the next time you see Dracula in a movie or read a vampire story, remember, these creatures weren't born in fiction. They were born in graves, in plagues, and in the bloody history of mankind. If you found this story chilling, don't forget to hit subscribe and join Untold Vault. Because every week we bring you the dark and untold stories that history tried to bury.